For those of you who've been around for a little bit, you know that I got a 1950 John Deere B, which you can see over my right shoulder here. And it was running pretty bad when I got it. In fact, it really wasn't running at all. And I got it running and it was blowing oil out the exhaust. And so I thought maybe it was something restricted with the air cleaner. And so I took the air cleaner all off and it stopped doing that. I actually had it swallow like a bunch of gas a couple times. And so I thought the float was bad in the carburetor, so I rebuilt the carburetor twice. I've had it off there twice. Went all through that, and so I'm on my third oil change. I just did it again yesterday. It's still running pretty bad. In fact, it stopped running while I was working on it the other day. I was trying to get the carburetor adjusted right, and I did what the book said, and then I tried a couple different things, and it wasn't doing what I thought the book wanted me to do. In fact, when it was running, it didn't really make a difference. Like, you're supposed to be able to have it at idle and close the load screw all the way down, and it should still stay running, and then you start bringing it up, and then you start opening up the load screw, according to what I read in the book, if I'm reading it right. But as soon as I closed off the load screw, even at idle, it stalled. Now it's stalled out and it won't start, and so I put the carburetor settings back to the factory settings, like 1.5 to 3/4 on the idle and like 3/4 to 1 on the load. And I had spark on the left cylinder, and now I don't. And so, like the idiot I am, I had rebuilt the mag, and I did have spark, but now I don't. And so I've got the mag open again, and I put a new set of points in, and so I'm going to make sure I got those gapped right. But it's kind of hard with it attached to the tractor because the cam that turns is like a fat end, and that's when it opens the points. So you kind of have to go to run one side and like hit the starter button and then hope it lands where you want it to on the cam. So it's a lot of walking back and forth, and it's a lot of frustration getting that done. So I still don't have spark, and I got 2 sets of plugs. They're the Autolite 3116s. I've run 2 sets of those in there, and didn't make a difference. I don't even know where I'm at anymore. I've replaced the coil. I've replaced the condenser twice. Yeah, it doesn't even, nothing. I don't have spark. I got nothing. And I'm so frustrated that I'm ready to sell it, even though I didn't want to. But maybe you guys know something I don't know. So let's go take a look at it. I'll show you a couple things. And then, feel free to chime in down bottom, because I don't claim to be a mechanic by any means. I'm just I'm retired from the military, and this is kind of something I do to keep me out of the asylum. But I'm a little frustrated, so maybe the asylum is not a bad place. But anyway, let's go take a look at it, and I'll show you what I got, and then maybe you can be the judge. So let's go. So anyway, it's drained gas into the crankcase twice, and I'm definitely getting tired of changing the oil on it, because if you've checked the price of oil lately, it sure isn't cheap. But so you can see, I got all this oil all over the dang thing. It's all pockmarked with oil. That to me is a telltale sign of the crankcase being full. So here's my handy dandy spark tester, and I got my spark plug wrench here, so I'll pop the plug out. Like I said, I had spark on the left hand side, and from what I understand, it's not uncommon to only get spark on one side initially until it's under load, and then you get the other side kicks in. I'm not sure. I don't know anything about John Deere's, especially old John Deere's. And unfortunately, everybody that I knew who would know anything about these is no longer around. So you can see here's the plug, and I did gap it. I think it's at 0.025, and you can see it's pretty clean on the end. It does have a little bit of carbon on it, but it wipes right off. It was soaked initially. It did have a lot of gas in it. That's not the case anymore. Now it's dry. So I thought that the float was screwed up on the carburetor, which was causing gas to get into the crankcase, because it's a straight shot in there right through the carburetor into the intake. And that made sense to me, so I rebuilt the carburetor, and I've had that apart twice now, and still nothing. And I get this connected back up now, so let's go around to the other side. So I've got the spark plug, the inline spark plug tester connected to the spark plug wire, which goes around the other side. I haven't messed with the plug wires. This top one still goes to the left. This one still goes to the right. I'm gonna go ahead and take this cap off. I tried the new cap and that didn't make a difference. I tried brand new condenser, that didn't make a difference. I've tried different rotor buttons, that didn't make a difference. Let's pop this off and we'll take a peek in there again. All right, so here we are looking at this. Changed out the coil. This is the original capacitor. Changed that. Everything's connected here. And so on the high side of the cam is when they're supposed to be split. So I'm gonna roll this over one more time and see if I can straighten that out and figure out what's up with that part. I replaced the coil itself. I put a different capacitor in, but it's still not working. Well, this was the original one. I put the new one in there. That didn't make a difference. And so when the cam turns, there's a wide part, and that's supposed to be when the points are open. So I have to go to the other side to do it. With the older John Deeres, you can set this compression release, which I think is here somewhere. And so when you turn it, you can turn the flywheel a lot easier by hand. This one, that's not really a case, so it's hard to know how far to go with it by yourself. So the high part of the cam is this side. So I got like another half rotation, which, like I said, hard to do when you're not seeing it. Try this again. Lemma does not like this tractor. Every time I fire it up, she thinks his gun's going off somewhere and she hightails it. All right, so it wasn't without some difficulty. I have them gapped, and here's what I set it at right there. All right, so everything's been cleaned out with contact cleaner too, electronic contact cleaner. I think what originally got me in here was the old cover. The gasket was disintegrated. It was in pieces. Here's a piece of it right here. It was no good, so I'm assuming because I left it outside, I got water in the mag, and then I figured it screwed up something. So the points are gapped. They're connected here. Capacitor's connected. Coil's connected. Coil's grounded. And this is the original rotor button right here. There's not really anything wrong with it, from what I can tell. This is the new one. They only go on one way. And you get the spring in here, and this little thing here. The contacts here don't look terrible. They're not as good as this one, obviously, but close this back up. Your book tells you to take the whole thing off, take the whole mag off and take it to your workbench and go rebuild your points and everything in there. And I may end up there, but you have to take the flywheel cover off, and then timing the newer John Deeres is a little bit more difficult than the older ones because, for one thing, you can't decompress it, and you have to take the flywheel cover off. So I just tightened up too. These are in good and tight. That's on there. I keep folding these back and make sure I plug them in right. I keep folding these back to make sure that I get the contacts on correctly. Otherwise, it doesn't seem to want to connect right. So that's on. It doesn't snap, but it's on there. I'll go back around the other side again. Put the fuel on. Alright, so on a whim, let's take this, and I just took this plug wire off, so that wasn't the problem, but take this off and I'll just let that touch the frame there, and now we'll hit it and see what happens. It's a little hard to reach over there, so hang on, bear with me. I'm going to do this the not stupid way. I'm going to leave my camera on it, I'm going to go over there, hit the starter, and then I'll come back and look at the camera and see if it shows anything. So let's try. I'm wondering if the camera's just not picking up the spark, because I could have sworn I saw a light come on. I'm going to connect the plug wire back on. So if I'm getting spark out of the mag and not to the plugs, it tells me I got a bad plug wire. They seem to really have somebody, whoever's like filling your orders, making sure that you're getting what you're supposed to get. Like I've ordered a, I call them capacitors, but they're condensers. It's the same damn thing. They for the same mag, for the same, I guess the X mag, and then maybe it's the XC. Maybe they're a little bit different. But there's two different condensers. One's big, one's small. And they keep sending me the small one that doesn't fit. So it has to be this big guy. And I put the original one back on. Everything's connected. Let's give her a whirl again. And then if this doesn't work, I'm going to give up for the day and go find something else to do, because I'm going to light it on fire and push it down a hill. So let's see, choke up a little bit. I got one pop. That's encouraging. That's more than I've gotten previously. Take a pop. Pops are good. Still doesn't explain why I'm getting gas in the crankcase, because I'm really getting tired of changing that. And I'm not leaving the gas on. I'm shutting the gas off every time I turn the tractor off. Screw the carburetor much at the moment, because that's the best I've heard it. It still sounds like it's got a weird mist to it, and I'm just going to take that as a win. But I guess perseverance pays off, and I know I'm not stupid, but I sure get frustrated, and I'm sure a lot of people do when they're working on this stuff, because it doesn't make any sense. Like I know it's hooked up, I know what's there, and you know, sometimes I know you do something and then you come back later and you're like, oh, idiot, why'd you forget to put the rotor button back in, or you left the points unhooked or something. But I went over it 100 times, it seems like, and so anyway, well, now it's working. I don't know. In the military we call it FM for effing magic. And anyway, thanks for watching. I could always use words of encouragement. Tell me what I'm doing wrong with this thing. It doesn't sound too bad. I mean, it sounds a little off, but a little off is better than not running at all, I guess. I'll talk to you next time, and thank you for watching.